Welcome to the second edition of my trombone tips. Trombone tip number 3. In number 1, I talked about the embouchure to center it from the F, the middle note of the register. In the second trombone tip, I talked about the breathing, getting control over the breathing. Now, in this tip, we're going to combine those two and get control over the synchronization between releasing the tongue and the air. That means that when you start a note, you have to have so much control over the breath so that you breathe in until you push for the note, and exactly the thousandth of a second you're releasing your tongue with the air going out. So with the instrument now. Now, what's really important here is to hit exactly in the middle of that F. And you can imagine that you're throwing darts. If the sound gets a little bit like ba, that means you probably hit the double 3. If it's a bar, it's a double 20. You've got to hit bullseye every time. Here we go. I was a little bit under bullseye, so I go a little bit higher. Still under. I was better. So this exercise is to really center straight in, and also the problem is that if you would release the tongue earlier than the air comes, this is what happens. You get pha. Now, if you push the air before you release the tongue, you get the opposite. You get a hard note, which you don't want. So you've got to be absolutely precise when you hit this note. So practice this every day, preferably in the morning, before you start and when you're fresh in your head. Best of luck with it. Good morning and welcome to conducting tip number 3. As you see, I haven't yet dressed, and this is because I want to start my conducting studies before I even had breakfast, because my brain works very good at this time. Now, this tip is about how I actually prepare a piece. You're going to see this piece now, down here, and it's Borodin Symphony number 2. And I'm going to go through the way I study this score. So, first round, I have always a red pen. I start by reading every instrument through, singing it through, so I know what I'm doing. Every time an instrument have had more than 4 bars of rest, I fill in their names. Flute here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bars of rest. That means that I know exactly when they come in, so I can check them up before they come in, so I know that everyone is in place. Now, that's the first reading through of the piece. The second reading through of the piece, I use a yellow pen, and I am sort of doing the Hauptstimme, the main part, that you will actually sing when you sing through the symphony. So here, bam, ba 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 bum, bam, ba 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 bum, bam, and so on. So you can sing through the symphony by following the yellow line. The whole symphony in one part, you can sing it. So That's step number 2. Step number 3, here comes the dynamics. So all the dynamics I mark in blue to have space. So here we have forte. And all this is forte, so nothing is changing. And then suddenly comes the fortissimo. Well, continuing here. Here we suddenly have a piano. That's very important to have marked clearly there to a forte. So we know fortissimo here, helping you with blue so you always have a clear idea of where the dynamics are. I read through that then I go to the main thing, which is the green pen, which is the tempo. Usually when the composer have written in the metronome marks, I try to follow it absolutely perfectly, like I follow the music in the line of the vertical line. You have to follow it also in horizontal line. So I write in here. Here we have a fermata, and then quarter note equals 92, always 92. Suddenly 116, and these metronome marks are very important for me to be very, very clear. And before I make a ritardando, I mark also what the tempo was before I did it and where it goes, 92. So that's step number 4. Step number 5 is I put in periods. Now, when the music is not so complicated, I maybe don't bother about this. So I haven't really done it here, but what I actually do, I show you the third movement, which I really needed. It's extremely difficult to keep track because it goes so fast. You have bam, you got to sort of be very, it goes so fast by. So I have a period of 4 bars, period of 4 bars, periods of 4 bars, periods of 2 bars, and then 4 again, and 4 and 4 and 2. So this was conducting tip number 3. In my next diary, I'll go to number 4, which will be a continuation of this, where what I do when I've done this process of the studies. Best of luck with everything. Take care. Welcome to composing tip number 3. In number 2, I explained how I choose 6 embryos out of 24 to become the brick of the piece. And by now, I have given them names and I know them extremely well. So I have them sort of in my system. Now, I make a clear plan. First of all, how long is the piece? What is the shape of the piece? Then I also check the deadline. Hopefully the deadline is 2 years ahead. Sometimes it's 1 year ahead. But I start day 1 and I count how many seconds I have to compose every day in particelle. This particelle takes me then for a 20-minute piece, might take me half a year, a little bit more. I might compose 10 seconds every day. Sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. But I try to not to write too fast, to get a little bit out every day. And I plan them very carefully in a schedule that I have. Right now, I'm working on 2 pieces simultaneously. And my sort of habit is to compose a little bit over an hour on each piece. 1.5 hours, 3 hours a day maximum. So let's say 1 hour and 15 minutes I work on the double concerto I write. I have so far written 14 minutes. Tomorrow, I will be writing 10 more. And the orchestra piece, I've written 27 minutes. Tomorrow, I will write 10 seconds more. Sometimes, you know, you don't get enough inspiration and you do something and you can come back and change it. But the overall structures make me never come into a pressure on finishing things too fast. 10 seconds of music in particelle, there is enough of time for 1.5 hours to do that. So this is a system that I've started with a couple of years ago, and it works fantastically well for me. I hope it does for you too. Some of you might feel uncomfortable with this pressure and want it to be more sort of flexible and free, and that's fine. I figured out that I am so chaotic and have so many ideas that if I would be free, I would be completely in chaos, couldn't sleep at nights and things. So for me, this sort of restriction on doing 10 seconds a day works extremely well, makes my creativity much greater. So you can give it a try and you can discard it if you want. You can also maybe see if it's something for you. Thank you very much. Looking forward to meet you in next composing tip.